Okay, welcome everyone to this another edition of the Bridge project. In advance, we would like to thank for your presence. And today we are receiving our friend Alexandre Dung. He will be talking about serioxology and its benefits of researching multiseriexological self-awareness. Just to remind you, during his presentation, please leave your microphones on the mute mode, okay? So the flow of information can happen more freely. And briefly, I will explain how this conference will be held. We will have 30 minutes of this presentation, and then the debate will last for 50 minutes. And in the end, we will have an energy workout of around 10 minutes, all right? All right.
Okay, that's fine.
So, introducing our guest, Alexandre Dung. Alexandre Dung, he's a volunteer since 1995, quite a long time. He's also an instructor of conscientiology since 2013. And he's also a volunteer at CIEC and Consecutivos, which are nonprofit institutions specialized in the research of serioxology, holobiography, paragenetics, and heterocognitiology. Okay? This conference is being recorded. We have presented our guest, and it seems really a quite interesting topic. Now, please, Alexandre, whenever you're ready, we can start. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Sergio, for the introduction. I would like to thank you, everyone. I can see there are more people attending to the speech than I can see in the cameras. In the cameras, I can see Rosalina, Elke, Paulo, and Sergio themselves. But I can see that about 10 people listening and watching. So I'd like to say hello for those that are watching live, and also for the ones who are watching this talk afterwards, because it's being recorded, and it's nice to remember, to recall people that you can watch it anytime you want. It will be available in the Isaac YouTube channel. Okay? We'll share the link after the lecture. So I'll start sharing my PowerPoint with some slides, and initially I'm going to introduce talking about the motivations I have, or I had, to do this talk. Actually is a subject that I've been working for some years now. I've been doing this kind of talk in Portuguese for about 3 years, and now I decided to try to make it available for more people, mainly because of the language, of the English language. I'm very motivated, as many other people here in Foz do Iguaçu, in CIEC, at CIEC, to be broadcasting those conscientiology corpus of information in a larger scale, and the English language would, I think it would be very important for for that purpose. Okay, so I'm going to share now my first slide. Just tell me if you have some problem with the screen, seeing it or listening to me. Just a second. Here it is. It's the first slide. Does anyone can see this? Okay. So I'll start explaining the title, which is Benefits of Multiexistential, which is the same as serexological, that it's a new terminology we are using in consecutivos and in conscientiology. So benefits of multi-existential or serexological self-awareness, which is this, and increasing the idea is talk about my last years and how the increasing self-consciousness, my self-consciousness, my self-awareness about my personal multi-existential lucidity has helped me in a practical way, and is actually helping me. And it's an improving process, but I am already taking advantage to my current proexis, my current existential program nowadays. That's okay for you? The understanding of this? So that's my main purpose. Let me try to. The content and the main goals of this talk is basically talk of first of all some concepts or ideas that were verbetes or entries of the Encyclopedia of Conscienciology that are presented by Professor Valdo Vieira, and two others that were presented by Professor Pedro Fernandes, more specific about the serexology. And then I'll talk of my personal case a little and some conclusions I have so far acquired or learned in from those last year experiences I have been going through. Okay, so I'll talk about first concept, that is serexological self-identification. Serexological here, again, I'm using it as a synonym for multi-existential. Okay. The second one, it's a verbete, it's an entry of the encyclopedia that which author was Valdo, Professor Valdo Vieira too. That is the effect of serexuality, the effects of living multiple lives and being more aware of this fact. The third one would be serexological multi-existential self-awareness properly, which is the main subject. Then the benefits of retrocognability. That one is an entry, it's a verbiage uh, written and presented by Professor Pedro Fernandes in Tertulia. I'll talk a little about this one. And the other ones are some topics I wrote specifically for the talk, where I'm gonna enter in the personal case and show whatever I could understand so far in my case, which I see already as benefits of not a complete serexological self-awareness, but an initial and an increasing self-awareness of these past lives and all this multi-existential process. Okay. Then I'll talk about any hypothesis of mine about what is the role of resoma or rebirth in evolutionary process. Talk about later about my sexological self-research. I have to say here, I will not mention names of personalities and anything like this because it's being recorded. If anyone has interest in chatting or have a conversation with me later privately, I can talk a little about this, but we don't talk about this kind of things or personalities, or although they are all hypotheses, because it's something that it's being recorded and it's going on online on YouTube, and I don't think it's appropriate for that media. Okay, I'll talk a little more about those hypotheses and some scenarios of revealed cases of other persons here in the community that they have already talked about this online and they are not so critical, or they already did that, so I can make some citations and comparisons with my personal case. And last but not least, I'll talk about our idea or our evolutionary goal, which is in the future having more lucidity and have a multi-existential self-relay consciously lucid planet. So we can, what does it mean? In other words, we can leave information, videos, books consciously, and in the lucid way for our next lives, for a way for us in the next lives to retrieve information about our own personality and also the ideas we have already concluded or assessed in this life. Okay, that's okay. So if you have any questions, you can. I think you. It's my first time here, but I think you can submit the questions for the moderator, and they will somehow pass it to me. Is that correct, Sergio?
No, not necessarily. It's not. They can ask you directly, and my role is just to make sure that we stay within the time span. Okay. Okay.
Okay. So I understand that anyone can unmute the microphone and talk directly. Is that correct? Okay. So be my guest. Okay. Anytime. I'll start speaking, but I'm gonna spend about 20 minutes in this exposition, but anytime you can interrupt and ask whatever you want, okay? Be my guest. So I'm going to start about this first verbiage, which Professor Valdo presented in 2012, which is serexological self-identification. Basically, I'll read here the definition, and then we comment about it. Serexological self-identification is the act or effect of the lucid conscience to identify and admit with full self-critique and cosmoethical responsibility the realistic clues and determinants of personal human self-experiences, previous, secular, or millennial ones. That's okay. I think it's comprehensive. But if anyone has does everyone okay with the meaning of it? Basically, is when you admit that an hypothesis of a retro life or a retro personality you identify as an hypothesis of being had been you in the past, you admit the veracity or the real possibility of this being truth. Okay, that's it. The next verbiage, the next entry, which Professor Valdo Vieira presented the same year, is it's called the effect of the self-serexiality. The definition would be the effect of the self-serexiality is the consequence of the act of the lucid consciousness prospect, precise features and detailed panoramic study of a particular human life, prior, personal, or several previous interphysical lives, using the set of techniques related to paragenetic research, all biographicals. I'm not sure it's written in the correct form, but all biographical and directly involving our evolutionary group or group karma. This means, summarizing this, the effects of our study and our conclusions so far after using many techniques to analyze paragenetic issues and all biographical issues directly involving our personal cases or our evolutionary group case. Okay? Is that clear for everyone? Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead. Another introduction concept, which is also a verbete from a Encyclopedia of Conscienciology, is one presented. I don't recall exact the year precisely, but was presented and written by Professor Pedro Fernandes, which is a colleague, a partner, a volunteer in Consecutivos with me. And the definition, the name of the entry is Seriexological Self-Awareness, which is the subject of this speech itself. And that's actually from this verbete. This was the inspiration for me to do this lecture. I just put in the subject multi-existential rather than seriexological to be more accessible for those ones that are not familiar with this terminology, but they are synonyms. So multi-existential, seriexological, holobiographic, it's all about multi-existentiality and about our seriexis, our sequence of many intraphysical lives, okay? So the definition of this one is seriexological self-awareness is the act or effect of the conscience or the consciexis or the conscience to acquire increasing lucidity of the dynamics of existential seriaxiality, which is studied by the specialty holoresomatology, allowing the location, the comprehension or the understanding, and the theoresiological. I don't know if you. It's actually a term I have just created. I don't know if all of you are familiar to the concept of theories, which is a theoretical and practical approach to something. So I create this term, which is a theoresiological experience. It means it's an experience you live also in theoretical and vivencial way, okay? Of the personal multi-existential cycle. This last one, does everybody know what personal multi-existential cycle mean? Is everybody familiar with this concept? The idea of the personal multi-existential cycle term or meaning is a cycle of intraphysical and extraphysical life, which can be understood as one cycle of rebirth reborn, resoma, and the next period of intermission after that, being ruled by a criteria which depends on the evolutionary moment of each consciousness. An example could be like functional or a functional cycle, activity cycle, someone that is somehow liberated from bigger group karmic issues, for instance. It can, the criteria that is ruling or controlling that balance between the extra-physical and intra-physical time of the cycle is the activity and not the personal issue anymore. Another example is person like most of us, in my case, for instance, I have a lot of interpretations still, and maybe it's an hypothesis, maybe my personal multi-existential cycle, which is this interchanging between rebirth and intermission, is being determined by maybe other criteria, not only the activity of the group, the evolutionary group, but some particular needs of group karmic recomposition. So the personal multi-existential cycle, it's a concept that's not the same as Syriaxis, and would have this approach more oriented to the balance between how much time you spend in your intraphysical life and your extraphysical life, and what is the reason, the motivation for this balance. Okay, we can talk more about this later if you want. I'm going to the next one, entering in the proper subject. This is another verbiage, another entry of the encyclopedia, authored by Pedro Fernandes also, as well. And the definition is the benefit of it's written incorrectly here. The benefits of self-retrocognability is the personal evolutionary gain resulting from the lessons acquired from recollection, remembrance, or keepsake of authentic personal past experiences, whether intermissive or intraphysical. So it's the potential gains acquired from your ability or capacity of having retrocognitions, reliable retrocognitions that can result more than a curiosity or an hypothesis. It can result in benefits for your current proaxis in this interphysical life we are living today. Okay?
Okay, Alexandre, that's really interesting. Just a reminder, we have already reached the mark of 1:13. So, uh, what I suggest, would you continue your explanations for more 5 minutes? Okay, and if there is something left, we can extend it into the debate time. Okay, can it be?
Yeah,
All right.
sure.
So
Okay.
please proceed. Feel
Good.
at ease. Relax.
Uh, Going ahead with this topic, here I list some benefits of this increasing sexological or multi-existential self-awareness. It's mainly conclusions acquired by me from these last years. First, I'd like to say some synonyms to make clear what the concept is. So I give here some synonyms, which are we can call benefits of self retrocognibility. We can also say it's a profit acquired with the increment of autobiographic self cosmovision. Another one would be gains with gains acquired, of course, gains with the improvement of the multi-existential lucidity, and return something you gain in return from increasing retrocognitive self-awareness. Okay, they are another expressions to understand better. Another thing I would like to say about the same topic is that the main motivation for the improvement of sexological self-awareness should not be only curiosity by itself. Okay, uh, the benefits of improving personal autobiographic lucidity are very practical and pragmatical for our current life, and as a consequence for our current existential program, our proaxis, which are to deepen our interconsciential retrainings or recyclings, being more punctual, more precise on this in this recyclings, a de-dramatization of interpretions and group karmic recompositions. With it's a very real thing. I've been passing through this experience inside my family, not only in group karmic and the nuclear family of group karmic, but in a larger one too. And at least the assumption, I think it's the maybe it's the most important of all this. As you can know more about your past, and you can put some idle strong traits, which are graforis. I forgot to translate it. You can put some idle or absent strong traits in favor of your personal praxis today. And for the group max praxis, and finally for the existential completism as well. Uh, those uh, those strong traits, many of them uh, we can have like a shadow. We are somewhat blind for them when we access some information about past lives. You can easily, not easily, but you can realize you have it inside you, and kind of idle, and you can put these strong traits to work now for your benefit and for the group benefit of the group too. And that's it. So now we can, I think that we can open for a debate.
Okay, really interesting. So, if anyone has any questions, just ask him directly. I personally found it interesting because I heard it from the grapevine that you have a lot of experience with computers. You have worked for a big computing company in England, haven't you? I would
No,
like
not in the US. It was a worldwide job.
Yeah.
Actually, that I supervised it from Rio de Janeiro, from here, from Brazil, but I use it to manage a large group of IT professionals, which from IBM.
Okay, IBM. Yeah.
It's the development area.
Yeah, development area. Yeah, I would like to know this is rather a strong trait that you have. Do you think this strong trait of yours has helped you to see the things in a more systematic, more organic way, so you could retrieve the information about your past? Okay.
Let me see if I understood your point.
Yeah.
You asking
systemic thinking.
My professional skill of reasoning things and seeing things in a more
systematic,
reasonable way. If it contributes, well, I would first have to ask it for my helpers, if that's the case. But I guess it's one of many factors that my rationality is one of the factors which are not simple factors or simple, very simple to analyze. But I guess yes, it's maybe one trait, one strong trait of my personality that among another ones that opened this possibility of revelations about my past. There are many others. We can talk a little more if you want about this, but it's
all right. That was my observation.
I think I never thought this way, but I think it might have helped me.
All right. So please, everyone else, feel free to ask him, or if you want, he can go on with his presentation, his slides and commenting. So
hey, Sergio. I have more presentation to do if you want, but I would be glad to answer to other person's questions also.
Hey, Alexandre, can you hear me? This is Dave Lindsay. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Hi, Dave.
Hey, how's it going? Hi, not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. Hey, I'm really enjoying this. Thank you very much. I think my questions probably are going to bring you back to the presentation, Alexandre. I had two things I was most interested, which we haven't had the chance to talk about yet. One is the hypothesis of the evolutionary role of rhizoma. It'd be good to hear you talk about that. And then going to the final point you were going to talk about the idea of the self-relay. I've thought about that before, and I kind of wondered if there was a potential for you to maybe get information too quickly in your next life when you need time to learn certain things, you are not ready to learn about certain lives. And I also thought about the risk of kind of misuse where someone else could kind of claim your past life and say, hey, this whole string of lives that I've written about is me, but it's not them. So I don't know what you think. Good to hear what you say about those things.
Just a second.
So Alexandre, he first
would you share your image where
I can't, sorry. I'm on the web. I couldn't download the application.
No problem. Just a question. No problem at all. But the self-relay is something I tend to talk about in the end of this conference. And where are you talking from?
Dave.
Sorry, I was just trying to unmute myself. I'm in Washington, D.C. You hosted us very generously when we had the Consecutivist courses in August at the International Week.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was great. Thank you.
No, you are not Dave Newman, right? No.
No, I'm Dave Lindsay. We have met. I wish I could show my face.
Yes,
I know you'll when you see me.
I worked for 3 years with someone called Dave Newman from IBM, Washington, D.C.
That's interesting. I'm meeting a guy on Tuesday called Dave.
In my mind, it was a synchronicity, but very welcome. It's a pleasure to know you.
Cool.
And if you have a specific question, or you want just me to go ahead.
Yeah, I guess just go ahead. I didn't realize you were going to continue with the some of the points, so just continue, and we can. If I've got questions at the end, I'll ask you. Thanks.
Okay.
Someone else.
So you can go on. But he had first asked it. First, what is the role of the rhizoma in this? The role of the rhizoma. Then he asked it about self-relay, and then mentioned risks about confusing past lives and past roles, and if there could be someone who could claim being a past personality that it wasn't theirs. Okay, but that's okay. You can continue if you want, but we will retake it later. Okay, don't worry.
I think it will be more clear after 2 more slides. But I can anticipate all of it has its risks. There are many requisites for us to enter to study those topics. I'll talk more about this.
Please proceed with your presentation.
Let me continue with this. Only there are 2 more slides, and I'll talk about a slide I haven't translated yet. 2 slides actually. I haven't translated, but I will talk about the roles of the rhizoma, as they mentioned it, and we'll try to answer Dave's questions, those 2 main questions. Okay, this slide, if you can see this now, we have a personal autobiography, and from that, a very small subset of information about our past is really available, if it's the case, to our current personality. And there are many reasons for recalling or retrieving those past lives information reasons for knowing and for not knowing too. Because the first thing we have to figure out is one of the roles of the persona is to forget our past than to remember. So let's go for this slide first. Studying our past lives, what can we bring that is useful for our current life, our current personality? We can get a more expanded self-cosmovision of the personal multi-existential cycle, which in Portuguese we have the acronym CMP, and the proper group karmic course. The group karmic course is another concept that we can watch our consciential life, many lives, in some parts. We first do a lot of mistakes and we get some interpretations with other persons. We have done mistakes and errors in the past, and after that we have another phase in this group karmic course, which we try to start to recompose and to put things right, to correct some mistakes, and you start to fall as a victim of those first bad acts you did before. And it's not a self-victimization. I want to make it clear. It's a victimization that seems to us as an hypothesis to be part of the evolutionary process. When we start to be victims of some mechanisms or that we ourselves created in an ancient past. And it's not a bad thing, because when we fall in this victimization phase, we can have more empathy for those ones we somewhat caused the prejudice in the past, and we have more empathy and rethink many certains we had in the past, and some light can enter our head, and we can have now many doubts about ourselves. We can have, it's an initial self-criticism we have about our personality. It's a turning point in our evolution in the process. So the victimization phase is that, and then we can have this empathy to others, many others that we have done wrong things in the past, and we can start to make recompositions, to try to fix ancient mistakes. I don't know if I'm being clear about it. So I talked about three different phases of group karmic course, and the next phase will be, I think we are, almost all of us are currently in this phase. We are trying to recompose and to fix these mistakes, and somewhat being victim a little, maybe in a little less percentage of our ancient mistakes. Okay, and obviously we are all of us. We are moving toward a direction of the liberation phase, where we are gonna have this more freedom of action, and we'll have those interpretations more and more solved and recomposed. Okay, so I think this is one of the important benefit that we have this cosmovision of our lives in the last millennia or last millennia. You can have this bigger view, okay, of your progress as a consciousness, and to deepen and have a more accurate focus in the main recyclings you need at this moment. Okay, you can be more punctual or more accurate, more assertive in your today's needs, today's priority recyclings of your temperament, your personality. Okay, another one is de-dramatization of those interpretations and your weak traits. What are weak traits? It's our vices and bad the things we are using a lot to do in a bad way. So your vices. You can when you have some kinds of retrocognition or information about the past, they are very important for us to do a de-dramatization of our current relations, mainly inside the nuclear family. Okay, I'll talk more about this. And at last but not least, more lucid group karmic recompositions, as I said. The last slide, I'll continue with some benefits. That's we have a greater details of we can acquire actually greater detail of our personal proaxis or existential program, today's existential, this life existential program, and the maxi proaxis and the group proaxis we are involved in. Another one will be an assumption of latent and idle strong traits. I've talked about this already. And the other ones I think I've talked already. A possibility of a future lucid self-relay, which starts now with we will reach a lucid self-relay in the next lives if we start now living videos, texts, books, and maybe cryptographic clues for us to recognize it and find them in the future, and continue our work from the point we stopped, from the point our work is interrupted now. Okay, and the last one is an assessment or a diagnosis of your personal evolution progress. I usually make an analogy with everyone has done medical examinations like a tomography or magnetic resonance, MRI. And if you have one image diagnosis of your body from 10 years, and you compare to a diagnosis or examination you do now, you can put them aside and perceive like a progress. I'm better now than I was before. So this analogy we can do with our when we compare our retro lives and our past mentality and facility when you have good retrocognitions, and compare to the way we think now. And
that's great. That's great, Alexandre. If this is your last slide, if you want, if you wish, you can remove sharing the screen, okay? So we can see you better, okay? Feel free to decide.
Okay.
Okay? Yes. Has anybody any other question? So feel free to enrich this debate. Don't be shy. Sometimes, even if you think that what is going on through your head right now is not has nothing to do with that, maybe you're wrong. Okay, so feel really free by all means to ask a question, to leave a comment, and so on. Right?
Hi, Alexandre, I have a question.
Yeah, I have.
Go ahead. Go ahead first, Elk, please.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question. What is the best way to increase my multi-existential self-awareness? I think it's the lucid projection, I would guess.
Yeah, it's certainly a way, but
there are others.
I would not say that we have a formula, a fixed formula, because each one has its own case. And our present as our past is very unique. Everyone has a different path. And each one of us and our helpers have a bigger picture, or more cosmophysiological perspective to access or to determine if we are going to access that kind of information from our past. You understand that? So in a lucid projection, as you asked, as well as on Tenepes, the Penta practice, or even with the intraphysical helper who reveals you some information from your past lives.
Mm-hmm.
All of them, in my opinion, in my experience, you have always the sponsorship of helpers in a lucid projection. You understand me?
Yes, and when I do Penta, can I? Yes, maybe it's an idea to tell the helpers, please, can you give me an information or something like this? Okay.
So you are already a practitioner, a Penta practitioner, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Please continue.
Okay. So I understood. Thank you very much. Yeah.
No, I'll talk about a little about my case. In my case,
Okay.
in my case, I actually have. I think you have many different forms of obtaining that information. A lucid projection, and retrocognition, or many different retrocognitions. Helpers, tips, or information directly in like a Penta session, and many others. I had a lot of information from Professor Valdo Vieira, which was an introphysical helper, and told me a lot of things that initially I thought he was not right, but after some years I could realize many of that hypotheses were actually real. So what I think is most important from all these different ways that you can obtain retro life information is that you give the helpers a sign, a very good sign, which may not be explicit, but it's an intraconsciential preparedness, or that you're ready, or you have the enough flexibility, or the enough structure or strongness to receive some critical information that will help you currently more than disturb you. Can you understand this?
Yes, I understand. Yes. And I have another question. I have the feeling that a special place has something to do with my former lives. The place is called Sintra. It's in Portugal.
Portugal.
And 1 year ago, I wanted to go there, and one day before, I broke my little toe, and I could not go there. And someone said to me, maybe you could have connected with very, very bad intruders from the past, which recognize you and see you, and then are again on your side or on your neck. So he says it has something to do that you could not go there. And now I'm thinking about when am I ready to go there and do my research. You understand?
Yeah, perfectly. I think you have a very accurate perception about what happened to you. Professor Bald, maybe one of his favorite questions is were asking people, have you ever been to Portugal, or have you ever been to Italy, or have you ever been to any other place? Because why do I think he considered this so relevant? Maybe not. Surely because of our retro shape or retro vicinity, the holo vicinity we had already had in our past in those different countries. In your case, Portugal, maybe an accurate perception. And he was always asking, "Have you been there? Was it nice? All the doors open to you, or you had a little accident like the toe you broke.
Yeah.
It's a very good perception. I think you're in the right way.
Okay.
We got to be very self-conscious, conscious or self-awareness about this details or synchronicities when we go to certain places.
Okay.
Certain Olofurcenes, it can tell a lot about us and about our past.
So I have to wait now for the next information or sign from the helpers when they say, okay, now it's time, you can go there, or?
No, I'll not say that. Well, I'll tell a personal case. Valdo asked me a lot, many times, if I had already gone to Italy because of some issues I had there. And I said, no, I never had interest. But I always asked him, why? Do you think I should go or not? He always laughed and said, it's up to you, but I'm not sure you should go. But it's up to you. It's our decision. It's more or less the same when you ask Valdo, should I start to be a Penta practitioner? Probably he'll say to you, well, it's your decision. It's up to you. Think a lot about, but it's up to you.
Okay.
Another thing he used to say a lot, and it's an hypothesis. I don't consider it true simply because he said it. He's not an oracle, but as he usually was very accurate at his observations and one thing I think it's very useful to recall. The first one is that what I said, we have the helpers usually understand us better than ourselves. They understand our limitations, and they can assess, evaluate if an information will destroy you or will actually help you in your current existential program. So they think a lot, and you have to do your own personal movements and take your risks and chances running after, because the normal way of the evolutionary process, talking about resoma, is that we don't remember. We don't have the remembrance or the recollect of our ancient faults and enemies and interpretations, because in this case it would be so much information. You don't have idea. It's too. Sometimes we have a hard time dealing with our current family issues and our current daily issues. So, it may have a big purpose, a big indication for them to make this kind of revelation or intrusion in our life today.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Does any, if anyone else has, I'll enter in the what Dave. I don't know if Dave is still here. I think he's still here.
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, I have just a second. I have a PowerPoint which I haven't translated completely, and I have in Portuguese. Just a second. My personal case and the role of the rhizoma in this multi-existential context. Just a second. Oh, here. I'll minimize it for just a second. I'm going to read it in Portuguese. My hypothesis for the evolutionary role of rhizoma, one of them is a mega focus, an ego group and polykarmic focus that are more proper for our evolutionary moment. Okay. Another one is to prevent the fact that we don't recall our past every time we resonate can prevent us from self-guilties and traumas, big traumas, allowing us to focus in new opportunities and new enhancements without so many ancient traumas that would freeze us literally, and allow us to reperspectivate, to renew our relationships inside our nuclear family group karma and in larger group karmic context too, because we were all the time self-victimizing ourselves or blaming ourselves from duties we have from the past, if we recall it, many things. And if we as well have the recollection of all other persons who are very next, very close to us in our families or in our groups today, what we did to them and what they did to us, it would be very hard to renew and to have new perspectives of this, to renew these relationships and to recompose those mistakes from the past. Do you get me?
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Okay. One more role of the reborn. For our case, if you consider yourself an intermissivist, someone who planned this life before resomating, doing the intermissive course, is it's a more advanced game that we can solve in our life in the first decades of our lives. These critical interpretations, maybe between our relatives, and have a liberation for polykarmic, or the clarifying, a more polykarmic clarifying task that can achieve largest groups if you are not so messed up or enrolled in personal familiar issues. But for achieving this, one thing that I see that the helpers consider and observe a lot is how is our acting inside our nuclear family today. Are you fighting or complaining about your nuclear family, or are you understanding them, helping them to recompose this ancient disagreements and mistakes? Because what I perceive and what I see in common between many, between about 10 people that had more revelations about their past, what they have in common, in my view, it's my opinion, is that they are doing a good job and a hard job already in the nuclear family group karmic. Because if you are not being able to do the prior recompositions within the family you have planned to be resomated in, they will not give more information about ancient issues if you are already messed up with your current information you have.
Yeah, that's really helpful, Alexandre. It's good feedback. Thank you.
All right, now we have around 1 minute. So is there any other question? So soon we will proceed to the energy workout. This time, the lecturer, Alexandre, will conduct it, okay? So let's wait and then proceed to the closing of this lecture.
The last thing I would talk is, Dave talked about this topic too, is about lucid self-relay. I think it's a goal, it's a good next step or a good aim for all of us to have. That is to live now with a great level of lucidity, information for our future continuation of this work from the point we are going to reach in this life. I think it's an important, maybe we are not too close to this, but we can already start to try this.
It's all right? Okay. Can we proceed then to the energy workout? It's your turn now, Alexandre. Yeah, now you will conduct.
I will conduct?
Yeah, it's you. It's
okay.
you. They have changed the script. Usually it's the moderator who does such a task, but now it's our pleasure to have you in control of this energy workouts, okay?
Okay.
We will follow your instructions.
All right. I would like to ask everyone to have a seat, to relax body and mind, to have a good comfortable seat, a good position. Try to relax all your muscles. Turn off your phones, your cell phones, first of all. Close the doors. Thanks, I think she's closing the door. Let's wait 1 more minute. Let me know if everyone is ready, okay? So relax your body and your thoughts, seated in a relaxed and a comfortable way in your chair or wherever you are. You can close your eyes to minimize visual stimuli. And now we're gonna take a deep breath in and releasing the air, releasing all our muscles as well. Another time, taking a breath in, and when releasing the air, releasing our tensions, our muscle tensions on the neck, the face, the arms, and gradually forgetting our body and concentrating our attention in our energosoma. Check your energies, your emotional state. And all together, let's draw our energies up from all our system till they reach the top of our head. Let's draw our energies from our body up to the head. Feel they concentrating at the top of your head, your corona chakra. And slowly we're gonna direct the energies down, passing through all our chakras, frontal chakra, laryngeal chakra, taking them down through all the body till they reach our feet, our plantar chakras. Slowly feeling each chakra. Now we are going to draw back those energies from the feet to the head again, through all your body, all our systems, feeling all chakras being unblocked. And keep this movement on from head to feet, from feet to head. We can now accelerate the speed and increase the volume of the energy. Each one, take your time. Let's increase the speed and the amount of energy. Keeping the focus on the exit, on the mobilization, and trying to increase now the most you can the speed and the amount of energy, trying to reach a vibrational state. Feel your chakras being blocked and the energy flowing with more fluidity, and maximize the speed now. Don't mind if you don't feel so much. Just focus your mind in each part of your body and increase the speed and the willpower. Now, once we reach the maximum speed, let's decrease, let's slow down the speed and start now to exteriorize those energies to your environment. Exteriorize the energies from all your body, to the left, right side, upwards, backwards, your better energies. Maximize the sterilization now. Do all you can. Your willpower and your best energies. Enhance, improve your own environment, all vicinity. Keep in mind your sensations for further record or writing. And then slowly, let's stop the sterilization and start an absorption. Let's absorb the energies now, trying to fulfill, trying to compensate our energosoma with the energies from the helpers, from the environment. Draw the energies inside, in your body. Pull them, absorb through all parts of your body. Corona chakra, from your chest, your arms, your legs. Feel your energosoma being fulfilled and revitalized with those energies. Keep the attention. And now you can slowly stop the absorption. Try to slowly come back our perceptions to the physical reality. Move our fingers, move your fingers. Everyone is okay? Is everyone okay? So if everyone is okay, then we are okay.
All right, just in time. Thank you so much for your lecture, Alexandre. Thanks, Paulo, for all your support, even though you are not in Foz do Iguaçu right now. And also thank you to Elke, thank you, Dave, thank you, Melanie, and the other Rosalina, everyone. We would like to reinforce the invitation for the bridge meeting that will be on June the 10th. Christina Arakaki will be again talking about the personal code of cosmoethics in case somebody has missed it. Okay, and it's a practical exercise of tolerance, of universalism, of mutual understanding, active. And again, just to close that, thanks once again for investing your precious time with us. Okay, nothing left to say. I will say goodbye to everyone and enjoy the rest of the
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye. It was a pleasure to
Have a good day. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.